Alright, it's another day of purging. So, let's start out by a book I'm not purging, but it's a beautiful book. Not gonna purge this. If you look, these are actually the CD-ROM comics that come out. I remember I actually had these. I bought these a while back just to actually have one of the failed attempts at how they were going to distribute comic books at one point with a CD version, that would go in your computer and you watch. They were pretty neat, but again, nobody was going to do much with them in that sense after a while because technology moved forward enough with everything. I did not keep my X-Mutants, but I am keeping the solo ones. All of these are beautiful covers. I think I have 2 of them, but I would like to get all of them. I think there's only 4 of them, so I will keep those for that. Got these today. If you see my short video, I'm waiting on a response from the seller. The seller placed both of these books unprotected with just a little bubble wrap around it in a box too small. Now it bent the bottom half of the books, and I'm going to hope that going in bag and board will straighten them, but I'm waiting to see what the seller actually says about how everything went down. I'd like to give somebody a chance to correct an error, but if the person basically doesn't do much with it, or is sort of like you just got to deal with it, then I guess I'm going to make sure that the review is really a nice one. So hopefully they're a little bit smarter than that and realize that their customer is, trying to be nice about it. But here's Kong the Untamed, number 5. Keeping that one. Keeping Cobra. Yeah, that's number 3. And number 6. And number 7. You might have actually seen all of these prior to this. These are some I picked up that I am going to get rid of, and I am debating it. I know it sounds that way sometimes, but if you look, manga number 1, they're really cool books in that sense, but it's never been my thing, and it's not King Kong or something like that, so I'm not sure it's worth saying, hey, I'm going to keep that. So I may be getting rid of these here just for that reason. Again, I've got to cut corners in places, and like I said, even though these are neat books, they are not stuff that I realistically collected originally as part of my collection. So it may be stuff I go ahead and put in the purge pile right now, and I'll look at it again when it comes time to go through the purge stuff and see if I will get rid of it. Again, like I said, there's a lot of that kind of stuff that will go into that pile. Katie King, I will be keeping that one again. Now, here's where I can make a little bit of a cut. I have number 1, which I would like to keep, but I have 2 number 2s. Now, I don't need multiple copies of a 2-part book, so I probably will get rid of one of those and then keep the other one and have part 1 and part 2 and be good. And I'm looking at the fact that the which one to actually keep, which one to get rid of. Now, absolutely love this series. They did a show of it, and it really didn't do well or last that long, but I'll show you my first one. Here's number. I did finish this year with the last part of what I needed. I'm not sure that they're in this group. Yeah, I got a robot fighting them. That's number 8. No, my original, I had maybe 1 or 2 in my original collection. Again, picked up at the McCroy's. So they're not one of these. These are one of the ones I needed last to finish up on them. Fun series though. Marvel Team Up. That definitely is a great series. I loved it. I'm looking to complete that and have that whole run. Love Spider-Man during this, right before this. I mean, if I was going to phase anything out, it'll be at the 60-cent mark, but if you really follow it, there's not so many at the 60-cent mark beyond. So, and Marvel tells, I get, because they actually tell a lot of the stuff from the period of time either I collected or even after that. So it's kind of one of those things, I don't like to get rid of them. And there's number 156, and a lot of good reprints come in the later years of that series. Now, this is a series that I finished, and this tells a lot of the Marvel history through, sort of like a Marvel universe or any of that, so you can actually see, and Wolverine, of course, on the front there, the Fantastic Four being transformed, the Guardian there before he was Vindicator. There's a newsstand of that, and here is a direct of that. Now again, with that, do I need to keep the direct one? No, this series is not really that expensive, even though I would recommend, number 2, the people making the Marvel movies now to go actually pick up this series and start reading it, and it may actually tell them how to make movies. But that's just me. And they may actually make movies about characters people care about. So number 3, a little bit of that Dr. Doom. I don't think he's Robert Downey Jr. That's all I'm trying to say here. And there's number 4. Number 5. Now, I will tell you an argument that I can't stand, and this happens online a lot of times. Somebody will make a comment about how that's not a character anybody cares about, or that's not a character, that character is, like, I'll give you an example, the female Silver Surfer. Eventually, Marvel did do a female Silver Surfer. And I get that they did, but however, what most of us older people were talking about, you have a ton of years prior to that female becoming the Silver Surfer. Tell that story first. Go up through history. Show something that people can see it being relative to each other, that it started with that guy, and eventually the reason why it's so important that the woman become the Silver Surfer, instead of just running movies by throwing it together in a way that you think. And that's why Marvel movies are declining like crazy, because they're losing people like us who actually care about these stories, and want to see them on screen. But the thing is that all of us knew from watching old movies, old TV shows that were superhero related, the common person doesn't care. They don't. They want big dramatic action, and they don't really care whether a story flows, but even they're getting burnout from the same crap over and over again. 8, 9. No, Angel in his Champions looking uniform almost. 10. Yes, I had to get on my soapbox for a minute because it does frustrate me when I hear people, even when I hear people, and I play in the card community too, so when I hear people talk about, why does Iceman have on the snow boots? And I heard a guy say that. And I'm like, but see, that's why you know the characters and their history and how he was literally like a snowman at one time in the way that they did him, and how the snow boots actually kind of corresponded with the outfit of how he was. So, I'm not throwing hate to anybody. I'm just trying to say that you got to count these right here. You could read these 20 issues, and it would bring you up to where you would know a ton about Marvel up into the mid-80s easily. And it would be good. You would know the history of everything that went on up to that point. And I am going to do a series about, I've heard people talk about, I know this is a different subject than my Purge, but why I'm showing you these beautiful books I'm keeping, I am looking at doing a series for cards, because one thing I've heard is a lot of people who come from the sports card community talking about, quote, rookie cards, and talking about how most of them have established that a rookie card is based out of statistics on the back. So baseball or football, in non-sports stuff, the Titanic doesn't have statistics on the back. If it's the first appearance of a Titanic on the cards, it's what it is. And if you look and you play the game off of that, there is characters in which even Impel from 1990 refers to as a rookie, and they're not, because they actually have a statistics card from before that. So again, it's a very gray area, but no different than how in comic books a first appearance is a first appearance. Hulk 180 is actually Wolverine's first appearance and should be the book that merits the most money. However, it's not. But it should. 181 was his first big appearance, but it wasn't his first appearance. I think that is the last one there. Again, 25. I think is all it is. So that's all the people from Marvel Studios would have to do is Disney just pick these up, read through them, read through the Marvel Universe at the time, these books, and even this other one. The next one I'll show you, Marvel Age. Read through Marvel Age. See what was coming out. I mean, there's so much of this stuff that you could definitely read and know what was going on. And where's our Super Boxer movie? Let's be real. You get Sylvester Stallone to direct it, and you've got a boxer movie, but in the future. And look, this has even got a story of Jack of Hearts, Submariner, Captain America, Moon Knight, and much, much, much more. Our stuff in it. Star Wars one. Again. How about a Wolverine cover on there? And let's... And look at that. The number 2 of the Marvel Age. Yeah, I just stuck it on the back because I was running out of bags and boards at one time. That's the reason why now that I've got some, I'm going to have to focus on doing it. You can see them behind there. They're that big old giant stack over there with toys on top of them. How about that one? John Byrne as the Mole Man's creature coming up through the earth. attacking his Fantastic Four that he did. Archie Goodwin is a Barbarian. 18. Now this is one that's worth more, simply because these are all the different Star comics that were coming out at the time. Wally the Wizard, Royal Roy, which he has red hair, not blonde hair, so I think they realized he looked too much like Richie Rich there. Top Dog, very hard to get. I just picked up a few of those. Heathcliff, the hardest one out of them is the 25th anniversary one. The Get Along Gang, I got a couple of those. The Ewoks, again, 25th anniversary is a very difficult one for those. Planet Terry, Fraggle Rock, the Muppets, and then again, so like I said, it's great stuff. I've got two of them. That's right. Grabbed them when I could. Letters to Marvel, Superhero Secret Wars, so you know Secret Wars was going on there. Sal Bronsky. The Dire Wrath, actually on there from ROM. And then how about this one? The Dazzler on there, Bill Sienkiewicz actually doing that. So some great covers as well as an insider on all this stuff that's going on. Now, I love this when they would play little games with it, and if you look, Dr. Doom is bringing ants to the actual picnic and, you know, outside little get together. So Miller starts doing his thing on Daredevil. Here's the 25th anniversary one they did for this one. This one's worth more. I bought it a while back. Again, it's one of the earlier He-Man appearances there. X-Factor. How about that one? A little G.I. Joe, along with Spider-Ham over there. So there's some Wolverine news down there that you get to find out about. And that's Steel Grip Starkey. I used to have those books, but again I phased them out just because of room. Mephisto. And how about this? The Fantastic Four versus the X-Men of the time. Look at the way the Marvel Age is written. Now, if you remember, we had the new universe come along. These were supposed to be placed in a more realistic world to where they didn't have all the Iron Mans and Captain Americas and everything else. It was a different power set of what they were and who the heroes were. It was sort of Marvel's attempt to create a whole new kind of universe of characters to try to do something with. As an end result, really nothing really took off from any of that. How about that little devil dinosaur over there in the corner? New Mutants, the X-Men, the Avengers, and that, let's say that was the, might have been X-Factor by then, I'm trying to remember. Now, nothing like a day at the beach with the girls. Alright, summer special. Another one of our new universe ones. And this is when Excalibur was a big deal, and they went and become the British connection there. A little Shadowline Saga. And how about this one? You got the connection of Dr. Doom, Spider-Man 2099, Punisher 2099, and Ravage. Again, Ravage was sort of a created character for that time frame, less about him being a one of the many characters that they mimicked or come from. Hercules, again, you see Wolverine, him pushing all of them back, Man-Thing, Shang-Chi. A little bit of puzzle action there, that was special. And I hate that I hadn't got to this one yet, but this one actually has the thing right over the Silver Surfer's head. Moon Knight. Shield action. Quasar. This is probably during the height of his start of his run on his stuff. Act of Vengeance going on there. And if you hear something in the background, it's my fan, because in Florida it's hot. It was 101 when it comes down to the heat index today, so Squadron Supreme. And that one, I'm not sure what it was, but it was a very painted looking cover of, like I said, I still try to pick these up. Now, this is where Namor became a activist and was actually attempting to become a businessman that was going to clean up businesses and do everything. I thought it was actually a stupid concept. And even showing him actually smoking a cigarette, a guy who basically his lungs are used to siphon oxygen out of water and actually believes in not polluting the air, and yet he's smoking a cigarette. So, at least with Wolverine it makes sense, because he don't care. Captain America movie was coming out at that time, so that's the sneak peek. The Captain America movie is in this. Spider-Man. Iron Man. I think this is trying to figure out. It's almost like they're almost playing ball, but yet you look at the two people that are filling in the middle. I think that they're actually the artist and writer people. I don't know who they were supposed to be at the time, but this is another one that always goes for more. This is one with Darkhawk. It's an earlier appearance of his, as well as this one, which is the Toxic Avenger, which is a big deal. Now, I always thought this one was a really cool one. This one actually has real mixed with the characters as it goes, so they look like they're part of it, so kind of neat. Love that Ghost Rider up there. It's a cool looking one. A little bit of Hulk action there. Iron Man. This is our X-Men anniversary, so we get old and new looking. This is where we started to get Thunderstrike, and this is where we got our Infinity Crusade was going on. That's a great one. That actually was a cover, I believe they did. There we go. Sorry, I was backing up just a little because I could tell the strip at the bottom was barely, I know it wasn't cutting off really hardly anything, but there's Magneto with that group. And this is the Marvel preview, the Marvels, where it's actually the more realistic painted one, so that's pretty cool to get a preview of. Same thing with this one, the Q*berts. This is all three of them standing out there, and a lot of the different characters there. This is the X-Wedding getting ready to kick off. Bachelor party and the bachelorette party going on there, I guess. this is a set of Punishers. Don't know what the storyline was during that time, but I do know New Warriors. I did collect New Warriors around this time for a little while. Always enjoyed Nova, so I thought that would be a good little thing. A little bit of Venom popping in at that time. And Remembering the King. And if you look, you see Captain America more in a traditional style, the Hulk and more in that Kirby style and stuff. So really neat. That was in '94. And this, when they did the crossover with Batman and the Punisher. Oh, and those ended, so let's move those because we're getting into our last run here of books. Mr. Miracle #1. I picked that up last year. #2. #3. #4, and that one is a key first appearance of somebody, but I'm trying to remember who. #5. #6. #7. #8. #9. And I think I either got 10 already. I think I either finished this series or I'm only short like 1 or 2. But here's #11. That was one of the ones that was originally in my collection that's no longer, so now it is again. #12. #13. Train cover, so there you go. That's a good one to get a hold of if you're a train person. #14. #15. Now you can see the King's work on that. And then when we move to 23, you can tell that it switched later at the end of. See, because here's #16. A little bit out of order here, but there's #16, which again, Jack the King Kirby does. And then so #18. So that's it. That's this box. Looks like there's only one duplicate in there that I can purge out of there, but hopefully you enjoy the books. I'm going to try to put up maybe 3 videos a day if I can, so I'll see how it goes. Alright, I appreciate everybody who's been watching. Thumbs up, likes, appreciate all of you. Have a good one.